Hey, it's Brock from 36 Crazy Fists, and you're listening to Matt and Pete on Macho Grande.
Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download at www.audibletrial.com/Macho Grande. Over 100,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player.
Alright guys, welcome to Macho Grande 180. I'm Matt.
And I'm Pete.
And we just kicked off the show with a brand new track from Alazka called Ghost. Alazka have been getting quite a lot of buzz recently.
I really like that track. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, it's coming from their debut album, The Phoenix, which is out on September 1st via A Rising Empire and Sharptone Records. And they, like I say, they've been getting quite a bit of buzz recently. So if you're not aware of them, if you dig that track, go check them out, because I have a feeling that people are going to be really buzzing about them in 2018.
Yeah. So the plan, we've got a really hectic couple of weeks coming up. So today's show is going to be slightly shorter, just getting a few new bands and go through the news, do a bit of a catch up, and then we're going to do another show next week, probably about the same length, but we're going to include the 100 Suns album.
Oh, yes.
Which, to be fair, I mean, I probably could have done it today, but you know,
another week's not going to hurt for me, to be honest. I mean, I could do it today, but I think another week would be even better to sit with it. But yes,
yeah, cool.
I will say at this point in time, that's a week's warning. Go check it out and pick it up, and send in your thoughts into Macho Grande podcast.co.uk, because I think this is a good record, and I'd love to hear what other people think.
Yeah, definitely. It is. I think it's out now to buy physically as well.
I'm still waiting for my copy to arrive. I pre-ordered it via their crowdfunding campaign back in, I think it was late 2016.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I thought I'd done it, then realised I hadn't, and then forgot to do it because I really wanted. Didn't they do a version where you get like these little tarot cards? Is that?
I can't. Yeah, I mean they did loads of deals. They did some amazing like sort of social media promos with regards to their chats and guitar lessons, drum lessons, and just loads of different sort of.
There was a lot of stuff. You see, I think when I realised I'd not done it, and then I saw all the different options, I kind of then thought, well, I might just wait now and see what the actual release is like. But I kind of wish I'd got the one with the little cards now, but never mind.
Ah, well.
So, yeah, listening pile. Anything good apart from 100 Suns?
Right, well, the Fever, just starting off with regards to... it's only a single song, but it's the new band formed from the ashes of Let Live.
Now, I've not heard this yet. Is it the track that we saw the video of them out in the street?
It's one of them, yeah.
Okay.
However, when they played, obviously, that video, they were live, and it was a real drum kit, whereas this has, like, digital drums. And it kind of gives a better idea of what they're more like. So it's kind of the punk Let Live, but mixed with a kind of, I dare I say, kind of a Head Automatica kind of dance beat.
Okay.
So it's not like acoustic drums.
Right.
So it's got a kind of kind of a dancey vibe just when you hear the percussion anyway, and then it's got like these, the punk riff and him screaming.
Cool.
So it's an interesting kind of sound because of the, it wasn't like the live version. I mean, he still sounds as wild on recording, but anyway, it's worth checking out. They've got that online now. But new albums wise, the new Wage War Blueprints. Oh, sorry, that one's their debut album. Sorry, I've been listening to that a lot as well.
No, don't know
sorry, the new Wage War album, Dead Weight, came out the other week, and it's really, really good. I've been listening to that a lot, and I think you'd really dig it.
Cool, yeah, no, I've not heard anything of that.
It's really, really good. Obviously, 100 Suns. Cursed Earth, their EP, Cycles of Grief, Volume 1, came out, and I've had that on heavy rotation. That EP mini album is fantastic.
Yeah, I agree.
It's really, really good.
What did you think of the new Enter Shikari?
I think it's good. It's all right. I mean, I think within the context of the album, it'll sound better and make more sense. But it's kind of the radio song precursor to a big album kind of thing. In a similar way to, like, Bring Me the Horizon doing Sleepwalking or something. Not really.
Yeah.
But it's kind of that's the one that gets the hook in the Radio 1 listeners sort of thing.
Yeah.
Couple more albums that I've really been into this week. The new Novelists album. It's not out yet, but advanced copy of it, Noir. Giving that a listen. It's really good, and it's growing on me a lot more. A brand new band that I hadn't heard of before called Deathbed.
No. Don't know them.
Their EP, Dead Youth, I got hold of, and it's really good as well.
What sort of thing's that?
Kind of like, again, that compared to, say, Wage War. Wage War is kind of more aggressive and discordant metal, sort of metalcore metal, whereas Deathbed are more on the punkier end of metal. So it's not as punk as, say, Cursed Earth. But, you're in that kind of, like, it's got that kind of vibe. It's hard to describe because I think listeners who know what I'm into, it's heavy, and the productions on all these sound brilliant. So it's worth checking out. And an album that I really didn't like, Ocean's 8 Alaska.
Yeah, I'm not getting into it at all.
I have tried.
I've only given it 2 listens, but I just, when we really dug their first album,
Yeah.
and I'm going to sound like an old grumpy idiot, but it all just seems a bit silly. And I normally like just crazy noises and
Yeah.
just, but it's not gelling with me at all.
No, I mean, this is the thing. I mean, like, I was going to just say, like, regards to, say, it was the Wage War album in particular. Like, it has these similar sort of really discordant and
nasty sort of high-pitched riffs
sort of
and ridiculous beatdowns, but
totally. However, they don't feel like a complete gear shift and a complete out of context section. Like Wage War, they're in the right places, and they're like, oh, that's nasty, and it's right. Whereas, Ocean's 8 Alaska, listening to that, it felt like I was listening to someone flicking at, music channels.
Yeah, and it just kind of seemed the same. I was just like, oh, you've not done anything with it.
Yeah.
Like, these were the ideas you had quite a few years ago, and I don't know, it really didn't click with me at all. So
no,
yeah,
totally. I was just like, oh, I did the exact same thing. I just thought, oh, am I old?
Yeah.
Is this what the kids are into? Because it felt like it was flinging everything at the wall kind of music.
Yeah.
And there was no kind of...
Well, I thought that, and then I thought, but you know what? We love Dillinger Escape Plan, so no.
Yeah, but again, with regards to Dillinger Escape Plan, I mean, if they wrote music that wasn't... It didn't feel well considered and well thought about. I mean, they kind of jump and sway from different styles and different time signatures and different kind of audio production techniques with it, song to song or within movements within song. They all seem considered. This just was like, oh, and now we're doing this techno fake bit.
Yeah.
Oh, and now here's this bit, and now here's the nasty beatdown bit, and it's kind of just like welded together as opposed to organic. It just didn't feel organic.
Well, it came across dated to me as well, because it did. We went through that period of obviously the beatdowns just overrode everything. Then everything went mega digital, and everyone was just clipping things and putting effects, and it all went. And some bands did it really well, like Woe Is Me on their debut album, got it just right. But then everyone went way too OTT with all the electronic stuff, and it just, you hear that now and you just think, God, that really was a thing like a few years ago that's gone.
Yeah.
And then I listened to this and just thought, oh, right, okay. It's just
and like I don't want to knock it. I'm not kicking it. It's just that.
And they're brilliant live.
It really, and they were a nice couple. Like they're a nice bunch of guys as well. It's just like this was like I just couldn't get on it at all.
I think they've got way more in them than this. I think but we'll see. Yeah,
we'll see.
Anything else?
No, that's me. What about yourself? What have you been listening to?
9 Inch Nails, a lot. Their new EP, And Violence. It is brilliant.
Isn't it?
Oh, I've really, really fallen in love with that EP, and I've still not listened to the one before, so I need to go back and revisit that properly. But I also,
like I said before, like the one before, it's kind of purposely kind of hard to listen to. It's purposely uncohesive.
Okay.
Whereas this is the Ad Violence EP is clearly written as like everything's in context.
Yeah.
Tracks go with the next track, and there's a flow. So yeah,
I think it's fantastic, and that last track with the loop is genius.
Isn't it?
It's so good. I also really like the artwork, and I was looking at the other day. Somebody's put a blog about if you ordered like the physical version, and in the post you just get this crazy like schematic for the machine that's on the front cover.
Oh,
and
cool.
it's just pages and pages of diagrams and just beautiful artwork, and it looks incredible. Apparently, I didn't know they'd even done this, but apparently the one before, the physical thing that came with it, because when people did this, they didn't actually know whether they were getting a CD. In fact, most people said, oh, it won't be a CD, it might be a cassette, it might be something else. So this, all you got in the post was just these pages of schematics and illustrations and stuff, which is cool. But on the one before, it was all coated in this weird powder that came with a warning on the front.
What?
So whenever anyone unopened it, they got all this black shit on their hands. It's crazy.
No way.
So, yeah, really like that. Nine Inch Nails Add Violence. Manchester Orchestra, their new album, A Black Mile to the Surface. It's a little bit softer, and they're quite soft anyway, so it's treading into indie for me on that album. But as always with them, there's always a couple of really good songs on every album. Less Art, which I'm not quite sure about.
Yeah, I've had that on as well. I didn't know how to feel with it yet. I mean,
I need to get to know it more yet. And who's in this? So this is guys from Thrice.
Yeah, it's the Breckenridge brothers.
Right. So I was kind of hoping to just instantly love it, and so far I'm not. But that could be a good sign, because it could end up being a total grower.
Yeah, I mean, I'm getting sort of vibes of Cave In and that kind of New York hardcore punk scene. I again, there's a couple songs on it that have really grabbed me, but I don't know it well enough yet, because it like you say, it's a grower, more than anything.
And then I've been listening to a load of Arctangent stuff ready for next week. Like I looked up Converge's last couple of set lists and just kind of made a playlist. Just to kind of, I thought I'd try doing that for a couple of, so I did that with Explosions in the Sky and Converge. Obviously Converge have got 2 new songs out. I've only heard one of them so far. There's Eve, which is about 7 minutes long, which I've not heard. And then there's I Can Tell You About Pain, which has also got a video, which is really cool, and that's awesome.
Cool.
And I think that's it. And then I just also wanted to talk about Misery Signals, because you've seen it as well, haven't you, the documentary?
I have, yes.
Yeah, I watched it the other night. So they've released a documentary. It's called Yesterday Was Everything. First and foremost, it is, I think, a really good documentary. Like, a good documentary, even if you've got no interest in the subject matter, should kind of hook you in. And I think this does that. So it basically is a snapshot of the band doing their anniversary show of Malice and the Magnum Heart. The first thing that I thought was quite funny is obviously they're reflectively looking back on their career in this sort of, was it 10 years anniversary or 12-year anniversary of the album, and they all still look really young now.
Yeah.
So obviously they must have been pretty much kids when they originally did that. But it's, I thought it was fantastic. I didn't know this whole backstory about the accident of what happened in, 2 of them were in a previous band. Did you know any of that stuff?
No, I didn't know about any of it. So it was all a new experience to me as well. And again, just really sort of emotional, and yeah, kind of does give a big explanation behind a lot of the lyrics writing of that album.
Yeah, I mean, it adds a lot of weight to that album. Yeah.
But yeah, again, they didn't know about any of that.
I mean, I think the only slight issue I had with it was the future doesn't look bright for the Misery Signals that I love. Because I know people love that album, and I know this whole tour was just that album, but I actually love everything after that album more.
Yeah.
And I think they are much more than just that album. And it seems like they have really parted ways with Carl. The original singer Jesse just seems like hard work. I mean, much of the documentary is him being hard work, and then the 2 sort of main guys not getting on. So it's a bit weird, but as a documentary, it works brilliantly, because obviously you've got all that context in there and that kind of drama. But yeah, real interesting kind of snapshot of that band. And it's like, the only slight grief I've got is I paid iTunes, which in hindsight was a total mistake, because it was like £4 something to rent it or £5 something to download. So I downloaded it, but because it's iTunes, it's DRM, and I can't actually drag it onto my like home media server without a major ball ache. So yeah, but very good.
Yeah. Again, it's worth checking out. Just as a fan of band documentaries, it's worth checking out. So
they're quite geeky as well, aren't they? Like they're quite. It is very warts and all. I mean, that first show alone, where obviously there's tensions, and then they stop the show really early on because like the crowd are on all their gear and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, the gig looked absolutely insane as well. But I mean, like from what I gather as well, that is now the current lineup. From I did look at their Wikipedia after watching it, and sort of like, what is the state of the band now? Because
other people came back for that tour as well. It wasn't like it was the whole band have stayed consistent and then they got Jesse back. The band have gone through various. I mean, it's basically 2 original guys that have stayed with it the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, because like I say, I mean, those albums, Absent Light, Controller, and Mirrors, I think they're incredible, and I would listen to them above Malice and the Magnum Heart anyway. But
Yeah. So yeah, but it does seem that there is, well, at least on their Wikipedia, it does say that that is the current lineup, and yeah, and it said that they're writing. So yeah, we'll see. We will see. I mean, hey, if they come back with a brilliant album, then great. But I mean, I thought the last album was fantastic as well. So it's a shame not getting to see that.
I know, and Carl's brilliant, and so much of the documentary is them not getting on with Jesse. You kind of think, oh, you don't need to hold on to that just because he was the singer on that album.
Yes.
I just think there's so much more than that. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens next. Okay, let's play Dead Cross. This is the supergroup of Dave Lombardo, Mike Patton. They're the two kind of biggest guys. Then you've also got Justin Pearson, who's in the Locust and Retox, and Michael Crane, who's Retox and Dead Deer. Have you listened to this album?
No.
It is, I mean, as you might expect from anything that has Mike Patton on it, it is bonkers. I'm not sure if I like it, but it's quirky and it's fun. And obviously it's massive guys, you know, Dave Lombardo and Mike Patton alone. So I'm just kind of pleased that this is out there more than anything, but it's really quite bonkers and fun. So
Awesome.
See what you think. This track is called Obedience School. So that was Dead Cross. Like I say, I'm not quite sure it's for me, but I think it's wonderful that that's out there.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. The video in particular is mental.
I've not seen that.
It is, in fact, I've seen, actually, now I think about it, I have seen the album cover. The album cover is kind of a skeleton growing multiple arms and multiple leg limbs. It's pretty mental. But yeah, the video for that song in particular is like a Filipino cockfight. with crazy sort of like, spasm-inducing extreme close-ups. But yeah, there's some pretty violent scenes in that, with cockerels with razor blades and knives on their feet.
Okay.
So yeah, that might not be on YouTube very long. It's already been removed a couple of times, going by the comments below.
Right.
Check that out, or don't check it out. I'm not sure. I'm glad I watched that. But yeah.
Let's get into the news.
Okay.
It's been pretty quiet. Stuff's happened, but I wouldn't say it's particularly chat-worthy. So I'm going to run through a few of these, see what you've got. Biggest one for me is Dillinger have announced their final show.
Yeah, I like the announcement video that they did.
Oh, I didn't see that.
It's kind of showing their first New York gig.
Oh, cool.
With the original lineup, and so it's kind of it does a kind of slow motion thing, and then it shows scenes from really shoddy video camera work from 1999 or
cool.
Sorry, 1997. And then does this cool sort of zoom fast forward through the years up to now, and it just is like, the final.
Oh, that's cool. So, yeah, I mean, unfortunately, New York, it takes place on December 29th with a killer lineup of Code Orange and Daughters as support. I mean, I've never seen Daughters, so that's amazing.
That is a good lineup.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't know, fingers crossed, maybe it'll get filmed. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, you would. Are they? Well, I don't know. Are they the sort of guys that would do one final sort of and then release it? I don't know.
Yeah.
Still, that would be cool.
Will Haven teasing new stuff. Album's on its way.
Yep.
Which I want to be excited about. I just haven't liked anything in such a long time. That's the trouble.
Yeah, same. I mean, I didn't like the album that they sort of first came back with, and then I didn't really just get into the last album we had.
No.
So I do really want to love Will Haven again, but we'll see. Hopefully it's good.
Bloodstock have announced that next year already their two headliners are going to be Gojira and Nightwish. So that's really cool for Gojira.
Definitely.
So definitely going to go to that because, we didn't do Bloodstock this year. Mogwai have released another new song off their upcoming album called Party in the Dark, and there's a video online for that as well. I'm not quite sure about it. So
have you got the new album yet?
Oh, yeah, last night, but I've not listened to it.
Okay, yeah. I same, but I haven't had a chance to listen to it yet either. That's what today was planned to do.
Yeah, I think my trip to the club tonight, that's going to be on.
Yeah, I want to like it because it's been the last. I haven't been shouting massively about the last couple of Mogwai releases, so it'd be great.
Rave Tapes is one of my favourite albums of theirs, but I seem to be in the minority on that. Yeah.
No, Rave Tapes is great, but
right, okay.
I'm still a sort of rock action.
Oh, okay.
Well, obviously Cody, Come On Die Young,
yeah.
Classic.
Yeah. Mr. Beast's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, for me, Rock Action was one of my favourites.
Okay.
So it's difficult because they don't write the same album each time.
Well, this sounds very different.
Well, wasn't the last album the soundtrack?
Oh, yeah, sorry. I see what you mean. I still take Rave Tapes as the last proper album. There's been two. There's been Atomic, which was the BBC soundtrack for the nuclear thing, and there was Le Revenance or whatever it's called.
Because I know you were sort of pushing that, but
it's okay. But I don't see it in the same light as.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just an interesting aside.
No, that's fine. I knew that there was it's like Happy Songs as well as another. But we're back to 2003 for that.
No, Atomic I didn't really get into at all. No, I'm taking Rave Tapes as the last proper album still.
Okay.
Possibly wrongly, I don't know.
Well, who knows? But we are going back to 2014 though. I mean, I did love that album as well.
Yeah.
But again, just the one that got everything for me was Rock Action for some reason. Just that's the one I loved.
I haven't got much else. The Atlas Moth, they've announced they're doing a new album in February of next year. And I think that's all I've put down. Okay,
well, I did have a couple of other kind of stories. Let me just double check, because I did tweet about a couple of things. Oh yeah, so the Tool back catalogue is getting a release soon.
Oh yeah, so this is vinyl reissues, is it? Yeah.
Yes, vinyl re-release, or the vinyl release of their full back catalogue. So I don't know if they're going to do a full box set or independent coloured vinyl collection. I imagine they would do a coloured thing. But I thought you'd be interested in that, because that is that's definitely your bag.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
What else have we got? Well, maybe it was kind of a slow week, really, wasn't it?
It has been fairly slow.
Slipknot, Clown. We're not going to wait around for Corey to say that he's ready, because he was saying it recently in an interview that they're going to be off for a while, while he does his thing. But Clown has come back, so it's that kind of like, oh, not this again.
Yeah. I just think it's a shame how that's kind of ended up. But,
yeah,
and Stone Sour. I mean, I'm kind of amazed that Stone Sour are doing an arena tour, but.
Well, yeah, I mean, the thing is that, like, with Jim not being in the band anymore, it's kind of, it is kind of he's just got Slipknot now, so even more reason. I mean, I don't know. Well, I suppose Chris has Will Haven. He's playing bass in Will Haven. Chris Fenn. Because I did double check if he was still in the band, but yeah, he's still in Will Haven as well. So right. I guess he's doing that in the downtime. But, the rest of them don't have anything else now. I mean, because it was only really Joey who was doing other things, and he's not in the band anymore anyway.
And there's this, they've got this film coming out, which I don't quite understand what it is. And it's got a weird name.
Okay.
Have you not seen this? There's a trailer and everything online.
No.
I think it's the last show, but I think it's a documentary, like one of the recent shows. Because I don't know about you, but I thought their stage set looked horrible on this last tour. I just thought it looked a bit Alice Cooper.
Right.
And a bit shit. And it's basically, I think it's a live show, but with stuff cut in as well.
Okay.
It's got a weird name, like Day of the Gusano or something.
Right.
Yeah, I've really researched that well, but yeah.
The only other thing, have you seen the new video for August Burns Red's new single?
No, and I've not heard the song yet either.
Oh, well, the song's amazing, but the video's brilliant.
Oh, okay, cool.
It's all like sort of Team America puppets. So it's what you would expect a metal video to be, except they're all string puppets.
Brilliant.
And the amount of times I've just had it on repeat, because it's hilarious. Cool. As much as it is kind of fascinating and creepy.
So again, it's another band that I want to love again. So
yes,
fingers crossed for their new album.
I thought this track was brilliant. Because they went through a weird, like, there was one album, like I think it was like 2 albums ago, which had like Spanish guitar and. Well, that's what I went off on,
because they'd just thrown everything in, and it just made no sense to me.
Yeah, but then they did come back. I think it was their last album. For me, was sort of 70% of it was getting back into.
Because you really like Leveler, didn't you? That's where
Leveler. Great album.
I started going off on that.
Right. I think that was the last one I well, Consolations I absolutely loved. That was a fantastic album. Yeah, Leveler was good, but they had it was Messengers.
Well, Messengers and Thrill Seeker.
Yeah,
they're both great. And then Rescue and Restore, I can't even remember.
Yes, that was the one that had like sort of like I say, Spanish guitar and kind of.
Oh, so in that case, it's only actually Thrill Seeker and Messengers that I like.
Yeah, and the last album, Found in Faraway Places, like I said, it had better stuff on it. And you had like there was a great track on there called Ghosts with Jeremy McKinnon from A Day to Remember.
All right, yeah, I might have to listen to some of these.
But yeah, check out this video because the song is really heavy. But it's just the video. It's so funny.
Cool. Okay.
And that's all I really had. You're right. There's not been much else.
All right, so we're going to play... This is a band called To Speak of Wolves, and this just, unless you know it, this kind of just slipped under the radar for me because this came out in July.
I've heard the band name, but
they've had a couple of albums, but we've not really talked about them much. Like I say, I think they've just kind of slipped us by a little bit because this is their third album, and I think they've got an EP as well, and they're Solid State, and normally we're well into the Solid State stuff. So it's called Dead in the Shadow, sort of American metalcore. They've been around since 2007. Yeah, this just sounds really good, so I thought we'd just quickly revisit and sneak this in before it gets lost. So we're going to play, this track's from the middle of the album, it's called The Impaler. Right, so that was To Speak of Wolves. Okay, so we said today would be a slightly shorter show. Got a bit of film chat I want to talk about. Obviously, get in touch, info@machograndepodcast.co.uk. We're going to review 100 Suns, so please give that album a listen. It's very, very good. Let us know what you think.
Yep, definitely. So yeah, we will be back with a fast turnaround on the next episode.
A couple of films I wanted to quickly mention. I finished watching Colossal, which I thought was incredible. Have you seen that yet or not?
No.
So at its heart, it's very much sort of about depression. But the film itself has got this quite bonkers storyline where every morning at a certain time, if this woman is in this certain place, she appears as a giant kind of robot on the other side of the world. It is nuts. Right. It is really good. It's quirky. It feels a bit like Chronicle. It's got that kind of vibe to it. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. So Colossal, well worth a watch. Went to see Spider-Man the other day. I thought that was fantastic. Really enjoyed it.
Really good fun.
Yeah, really, really enjoyed that. And then two films that I was looking forward to that I haven't quite got on board with. One of them is Ghost in the Shell, which I thought looked very pretty, and it started off well, and I just lost all interest quite early on. And by the end, I just didn't care, which I just felt like was a shame. How did you feel about that?
Sort of felt like that with regards to when I saw it at the cinema, because I've seen the anime a few times when I was younger.
Yeah.
And the anime is a similar sort of thing where it is very slow cooked. The one difference is the anime does have slightly different storyline, and it does focus more on humanity and what it is to be human, and that kind of metaphysical sort of morality question, which the live action doesn't really focus on.
No, it doesn't at all.
Kind of sort of talk about it. However, just rewatching it, I bought it on Blu-ray. I mean, visually it is stunning.
It does look cool. But honestly, right now, I couldn't tell you a single scene from it. I cannot remember anything about that film.
Okay. I mean, I think it is the sort of film that not everyone's going to like, because the anime not everyone liked, and it does follow pretty much shot for shot, bar they do sort of strip out a lot of the main story from the anime. But I like it, and I have watched it a few times since.
And then two others, just quickly. Your Name, which is probably one of the most beautiful looking anime films I've ever seen. Have you seen that?
Nope.
It is really nice about these. It's got like hints of time travel about it, and it's partly set in the city and partly out in the countryside. It's got a real Haruki Murakami feel about it as well. It's really, really cool little anime film. And last one was Get Out. Have you seen that?
Yes.
Now, we've not talked about this at all. Get Out is one of those films that has been raved about. People have been saying, obviously, we only get a couple of truly great kind of, I say horror because it fringes on horror, but people have been regarding it as this incredible horror film that you need to see. I was really disappointed in it, but I enjoyed watching it, and I loved the tone and the setting. But obviously, I think most people going in know that I don't want to spoil anything. I think most people know that it has something to do with sort of racism.
Yeah, I mean, I saw it it's more of a sort of
psychological
thriller.
As well.
Thriller. Psychological thriller.
Yeah. / really dark satire. Yeah, but my problem was everything was just so on the nose. Like the racism was just because of the tone. I thought it was going to be more intelligent than it was. And I was waiting for some kind of clever thing to happen or some shock value, but you literally from the first scene, they just beat the racism thing to death, just constantly, and it's like there's no suspense or shock or anything because it's all so obvious.
Well, yeah, but again, it's kind of like on the back of even just sort of recent events, it's kind of like, well, yeah, that is kind of the way it is, I suppose.
By 45, well, it's certainly an hour in, I was like, I just lost interest because I was like, there's nothing to hook me in. It does look nice, and those scenes where he sort of falls back from the chair, there's some good moments.
Well, yeah, I think also it was the impact it had is from the writer director's background, because he's very much a comic and part of a comic double act.
Right, okay, because he wrote, directed, and did everything, didn't he? He did the whole thing.
But yeah, I like, because...
I just would have liked more suspense. Just I don't know, it was just so just on the nose, the whole thing.
Well, yeah, but again, is that because you were expecting it to be a horror, or
I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying I needed it to suddenly turn slasher, but I thought there'd be more, I don't know, intelligence and more of a twist to it.
Yeah, but again, I think that's going in with expectations.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, I was very disappointed in it anyway. So
yeah, I need to strip away, do what I do, strip away the expectations, man. You go in with no expectations. At least then you could form a better sort of.
Well, that's
opinion.
why I'm trying. I said to you at the start of the year, there's a couple of films where I'm going to make a point to not read the book until I've seen the film first, because I think you can always then add to the film. So, like, the big one for me is this Steven Spielberg, because that's a book I've been wanting to read for years.
Ready Player One.
Ready Player One, and I've been wanting that book's been on my list for a couple of years now, and I
That
thought
book is amazing.
yeah, but I thought right, well in this case I'm going to do it the other way around, and I'll wait for the film and then I'll read the book.
Yeah, well, probably because I mean, I have no idea how they're going to do the things I've read in the book.
Okay.
And I've read the book and listened to the audiobook because the audiobook.
Cool.
One of the characters,
Which presumably you could get if you go to the Macho Grande Audible link at the start of the show.
Interestingly, yeah, good segment. We are nothing if not, convenient segues. Yeah, check out the Audible trial and get the audiobook of Ready Player One. It's narrated by Will Wheaton himself, Star Trek, Next Generation, and the Big Bang Theory fame. It's funny because he's also plays himself in the book because he's in the book.
Oh, okay.
Will Wheaton. He's like one of the what would you say? He's kind of like one of the he's a moderator for the Oasis, so he's one of the actual sort of celebrity moderators within the game.
Okay.
But he also narrates the book, which is a really good get.
Yeah, that's cool.
So yeah, the book narration is a really good listen. But yeah, so I have some very high expectations because that book, it's hard to describe because I think almost everyone who's read it will say the similar thing. If you're of our generation, be a child of the 80s growing up in the 90s, you will feel just how sort of like written it is personally for you. It just feels like it was written for me because it's got all the references that I get knowing geek culture. It's got all the references to music and films and games that I get.
Yeah, cool.
And you'll feel the same. You'll just be like, that's brilliant. So I don't know how they're going to do that in the film because there's so many different things and so much different permission they'd need to get. So
gotcha.
What I'm worried about is that things will have been changed because there's certain properties. Although because it's Steven Spielberg, maybe he'll have been able to, pull a few strings to get permission for certain things. But certainly the trailer looked good.
When's it out? Is it this year?
I'm not sure. Is it Christmas?
Because I had a feeling it was this summer, and then I realised that it can't possibly be now. So yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's hard. I mean, I know you're saying like on this case, don't read the book first.
Well, there's just been so many books films where I've seen the book and then obviously looked forward to the film and just thought it's not as good.
Well, yeah, I mean, the thing is like, the one difference is like, the one thing that the book lacks is the visual experience of just how they do that. So, just seeing the trailer alone is kind of like a reward to the other side of knowing what the story is.
Right. So
I'm kind of like, I don't know what I would say, because I would kind of recommend, like, I can see this one being, because it's unlike, say, reading a crime book or, reading, Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. I mean, that is the story, and how it's described in the book is what you see on screen, but there's obviously the dark mystery within reading it, whereas there's so many things visually in Ready Player One that you can't even properly get your head around.
Okay.
The film will be an experience. It's hard to sort of say, because I can see that on this occasion reading the book beforehand will only enhance.
Okay. Yeah. We'll see. All right.
Audio Macho Grande Great audio book Audible trial / Macho Grande.
And do that now, because we're gonna be ditching that soon. So if you want to get your free book, do it.
We getting a new sponsor?
I don't know what we're doing yet, but I feel like a change.
I'll have to talk to you. I've got some ideas, but we'll see.
We'll change everything up on episode 190. We'll do a 193 episode special and just change everything.
Yeah, and up will be down and down will be up. What else have you? Sorry, there was something else you were going to say.
No, that's it for me.
Oh right, yep.
I want to see Dunkirk still, but
Yes, I've seen Dunkirk.
cool.
It's get it. Make sure you see it in IMAX.
We were talking about it on the last show that we were going to try and go to IMAX. I'm actually in London, not next week, but the week after. So, if at all possible, I may try and get to the BFI.
Just for the sound experience alone is
That'll be the 70mm print as well. So
it is insane sound. And again, like very sparse CGI. Almost everything is done in camera.
now, obviously, we're both big Nolan fans. How is this in his sort of list of films? Because obviously, this is very different.
Yes.
To him.
However, Nolan still manages to do something that is very Nolan to do. So he does manage to do his kind of like, when you realize what it is that's happening, you will be like, oh, so that's the spin he's put on it.
Right. Okay.
But I mean, with regards to like his back catalogue or his filmography, it's not my favorite. I still think personally, Prestige, Batman Begins, Memento are kind of like battling for the top 3 places. But with regards to it being a Second World War film, it's one of the definitive like that. It's up there with Saving Private Ryan.
Cool. Okay.
I mean, like, it's unbelievably tense.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah, I mean, from the get go, it's all about fear and desperation and panic, and it's just about survival. It's very, and for a lot of people that seems to be the negative. Like, they're just like, well, you don't get to know the characters, you don't get to. It's like, well, what do you mean? I mean, what do you need to know? They're scared. That's what it's about. The film's about fear and what people will do to survive. So yeah, I recommend it. But yes, see it in IMAX because bloody hell. And I finally watched True Detective.
What
I'm really late to the game.
Season 1?
Yeah.
Oh, bloody hell! Right, yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, finally, I gave myself some time off work for my birthday.
Right, don't watch season 2. Just leave it there.
No, I'm just going to leave it at that. I have heard, like, don't watch season 2.
Season 2's got nothing to do with it anyway, so...
No,
yeah.
But no, as a single series...
I really want to rewatch that. I loved it. Just, again, the tone and just the slight unease behind the whole thing, and then Matthew McConaughey, it's so good.
Yeah, there's just a lot, really like the sort of... the spanning 3 different time periods, and the decline of each actor, each character, one descending into sort of like alcoholism and the other one just sort of like implosion of his personal life.
I forgot it's Woody Harrelson as well, isn't it? He's amazing in it.
Yeah, so it's interesting seeing that, and then obviously the mystery itself is really good.
It's cool, isn't it? Yeah.
Very good, very good. But yeah, I definitely will watch season 2.
Try and do, if you've not seen it yet, Fargo season 1.
Yeah, I want to do those too.
Fargo, I've not seen season 3 yet, but Fargo 1 and 2 are both incredible. And then obviously, if you've not done it yet, mate, The Leftovers is one of the best TV shows I've ever seen.
I'll get to it. I just, the problem with Leftovers...
And the music, and it's so beautiful.
Yeah, I'm just, I don't really have any faith in the writer.
Well, it's finished and it's great. So there you go. It is a complete chapter.
Okay, so
they're not going to revisit it. It's done. It's closed. So it is very good.
Okay.
3 seasons. They knew when the end was going to be. So yeah.
Unlike
right. Anything else
is done. No, that is about it. So yeah, like you say, we will be back next week with our review episode. So go check that out. If you've got a review you want to send us in, or if you've got some music you want to send in, like the next band we are going to play, we'll get to that in a second. Info at machograndepodcast.co.uk, or you can drop us a message through Facebook, which is facebook.com/Macho Grande Podcast.
Yeah, if anyone's at Arctangent this weekend, give us a shout. It'd be good to meet up for some beers.
Yeah, and add us on Twitter at Macho Grande Pod. Follow us on Instagram. Pete will be taking photos, no doubt, from the weekend at Arctangent. And you can also leave us a voicemail review or voicemail question, 05603 689 842.
And if you've got a second, I know we've said this every week, every episode for the last few shows, but our iTunes reviews are old now. There's been no new ones for a while, yet we've had loads of new listeners. So it could just be that you don't listen via iTunes, but even if you don't, go on iTunes and give us a little rating.
Yeah, that would be really good. I mean, it does help push us up within iTunes, helps other people get to find us. At the very least, you know, we don't ask for money, we don't ask for anything like that, but we'd love it if you could just tell a friend about the show and get them to check it out. You know, that's how we want to grow. You know, if you like the show, tell a friend. We don't ask for much else.
Yeah. So, yeah, you've found this band called Into Orbit. Tell me about them.
Yeah, they got in touch with us via our Facebook page, said obviously that their EP had come out and that they checked out our podcast and they were well aware that we are into our instrumental, atmospheric post-metal stuff. So yeah, again, you know, by all means, send us in some links so that we can check out some stuff, or to download it our end so we can review it. But this is a band from Wellington, New Zealand. They're called Into Orbit, and they're a duo, guitars and drums. They described as an experimental rock duo formed in 2013. One of their recent great reviews has said, quote, "There are some truly resplendent post-metal melodies here, backed by atmosphere that's sometimes so tangible you feel you can reach out and touch it."
Cool.
Into Orbit are one of the better examples of industrial post-metal rock out there at the moment, and Unearthing is a joy to experience.
Cool. Well, I've done you sent this over to me. I've done 2 listens and really enjoyed it straight away. I really like the artwork as well. It's a cool front cover.
Yeah, really cool front cover. I've gone through it several times. Hard to try and pick a track because kind of want one that kind of reflects a bit of everything. And I did want to go for the last track, but I think that was more for self-indulgent reasons, but I didn't think it was a good one to reflect everything that's on the rest of the album. So I thought best go with the title track because it has a kind of the elements you would expect from post rock with, the builds, and then, but they go into their sort of metal groove as opposed to other post rock type of bands. So yeah, you can check this out via iTunes and all the other usual places, but you can also get it directly from their Bandcamp, which is intoorbit.bandcamp.com. And yeah, it's on Spotify as well. Hope you guys like it, because we really dig it.
Yeah. So we're going to close out on this.
Yep, this is Into Orbit on Earthing. Speak to you later, guys.
See you later.
Macho Grande?
No, I don't think I'll ever get over Macho Grande.